Wrestling Radio Podcast. Jordan Tom is not with us tonight, so I'll be your host, Brian Rowan. I'm with Patrick Smith, is a temporary co-host tonight, and Coach Ward. How's it going?
What's up, fellas? So we said temporary co-host, but depending on how it goes, listen, everybody's replaceable. So hey, if we have a good show tonight, we never know what's going to happen. It could be Jordan and Pat on next week, and no BHAW. So
Whoa!
It was actually all part of Jordan's plan to get me on here and see how I do. So we can.
When BHAW says Jordan's not with us tonight, he means Jordan's doing fine. He's otherwise occupied, but totally plans on being here with us tomorrow and the next day.
The doctor did everything he could, and she will make 100% recovery.
She'll be just fine. Man, yeah. Okay. So, yes, how we're doing? I'm doing good. I'm in my dining room talking wrestling with a couple of my best buds and talking about Army wrestling. So couldn't be much better. We're coming off a good performance over the weekend. Team looked pretty good. So we're feeling, much better. You want to have these kind of matches late in the season, it's February now. So you expect to have some performances like we had. We're talking on Monday, so that was yesterday, and we need more of them as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do these podcasts and get them ready after a good performance than last week. Last week I was like, do we want to do it tonight? Can we just push it another day?
Last week was like coming back in the consies, like it's easy to win when you're winning, and man, sometimes when things don't go your way, you gotta suck it up. Put your wrestling cap on and go talk wrestling in your dining room with your buddies, even though it's the last thing that you really feel like doing that time. But yeah, it was a better performance for sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of anytime we beat Bucknell. I went to prep school with a couple of guys that ended up going to Bucknell. So outside of those Navy wins, I'm a big Bucknell beating fan.
I am too, and that's not a shot at their program. That's actually out of respect, because we've certainly taken a few beatings from them, and they compete hard. So they're a fun team to wrestle against. Their coach is pretty fiery. He's a spirited guy, and they coach them hard and they compete hard. So anytime you get a win over them, it feels good. Like I said, it's not a knock on them. It's like that's a compliment, really. When you beat them, you feel good, and that's a compliment of a good program. So yeah, happy with the way the guys competed. Glad we came out on top. And I don't know. B-Row's probably got a list of questions and wants to break it down weight by weight, which is what I love to do. So we're gonna let B-Row kind of drive this thing.
Well, a short little side note. Patrick mentioned that he went to prep school with a few Bucknell guys. So he didn't go to the United States Military Academy prep school. What prep school did you go to?
I went to Wyoming Seminary.
You went to Wyoming Seminary. What is your email address?
My email address is usemaps followed by a couple of numbers @gmail.com. I'm not going to give the numbers because I don't want any spam from any old grads.
Yeah, I mean, to our tens of thousands of listeners out there that are dialed in, we don't want to be giving out that email address. I did not know that. I didn't know you went the civil prep route through Wyoming Sim. Interestingly, we have a kid, I don't think I can mention him by name, but there is a recruitable athlete at our prep school right now that spent the year before at Wyoming Seminary as part of the master plan. So very cool.
Yeah, I was watching I think National Preps last year, and I think they announced in his finals match where he was going.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, awesome.
The whole point of my little side note there was the fact that his email is UseMaps, but he didn't go to UseMaps, which I think is probably the highest compliment for as a UseMaps grad you could have.
Actually,
so yeah. I adapted the UseMaps culture from B-Row. I'd be studying at night and I would hear him yelling UseMaps through North Area. And then he graduated and somebody else had to do it. Nobody else was picking it up. So
while you were studying, he was yelling out the window. It all makes perfect sense. I'm not that surprised to hear it.
All
right. So getting into the match. So I apologetically didn't watch the match on Sunday. I was skiing, but I was flipping around on Twitter. You guys have a great media team, so I'm following there. Other than when Christian Snook FaceTimed me, to show me the matches a few times.
Yeah. Are you a skier or a snowboarder? You're skiing.
I'm a skier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So which one was your favorite match? Because I know you had to go back and watch them again this morning. Or no?
I'd say Marcus Hartman's match. It sounded
like
tough.
Marcus wrestled tough, right? I told him today that was the most aggressive and kind of assertive I've seen him on his feet in a long time, maybe ever. Now, when he gets on top, like he's always really aggressive and mean, and like he tries to kill you when he gets on top. But seeing him have that same attitude on his feet, he got really aggressive, and that was good. He didn't get any turns, in his match yesterday. He was really close. I thought he had one for sure, and the ref didn't. So no points went on the scoreboard, but he was mean on top, and he was just as aggressive on his feet. That was a good thing to see. Yeah.
Patrick, what was your favorite match? Patrick watched all the matches. So
yeah, I would say Bobby's match. I didn't know what to expect going into that match, just based on some athleticism, like differences and size differences. I didn't know, and he just put it on him.
Yeah, so that guy they got, I mean, that's a talented, I think a true freshman that they have. And he weighed in at 240 ish, like right around there. He's a good looking kid. I mean, he's got a bright future. They got a good heavyweight. Bobby's he's tough. I told Bobby before his match, I said, listen, the dual meet by that point was kind of out of hand. Like we'd won a lot of matches, but I told Bobby, I said, hey, this guy's going to give you a match that you want. Like, he's not going to roll over for you. You're going to have to go out there and earn this thing. And Bobby was fired up because we recruited that kid. We watched him in high school. So I knew how good he is. So I said, Bob, this guy's going to fight you. Like, he's not going to just roll over. So you're going to get a match that you want to have right now. Bob was fired up, and he thrives under that, so that was good. Yeah. But BHAW, did you want to run through each weight? How do you want to break it down?
Yeah, but I mean, while we're on that topic with Bobby, I have one little question. Does it help that, I feel like he needs to have like a sense of urgency to go out there and dominate because, you got Ben, him and Ben like fighting for the spot. So like, how does that kind of, when is that decision made? I guess is like one question I have, who's wrestling that day? Does it differ by wrestlers and weight classes, or, they give like a day, 2 days notice, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, no, I think we knew that Bobby was going to wrestle this weekend. And sometimes, this year it won't be a match day decision with those guys. It has been in the past a few times. They're so close, and we got a lot of trust and a lot of faith in both of them. They'll get the jobs done, but it's not going to be a game day decision anymore with them. They'll probably wrestle off, like do simulation matches every week until the conference tournament. And I mean, there's just not much separating those two. So one of the two has to make a decision to find some separation somewhere, some way, somehow. And I told both of them, I said, listen, I've made the decision the past 2 years. I don't want to make it anymore. I want one of you guys to do it. I want you to take it out of my hands. And ultimately, if it falls back on me, that's my job. I got to do it. Somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody's not. But I don't want to do it, to be honest. So we're going to let them wrestle quite a bit, and we're going to let them both compete. They're both going to get chances at competition. And hopefully, it becomes a pretty clear decision. If not, then, we have a really tough decision to make because both of them are, capable of being on the podium at the NCAA tournament. It's a really good problem to have. There's a few weeks left in the season, so that decision's not made yet.
Appreciate it.
Going to the other end where we started, looked like Ryan kind of just ran out of time this week.
And that's we kind of talked about that. Like, if we're going to lose, that has to be the only reason that we lose is we just ran out of time. And the week before it didn't look like that. So some positives with Ryan's match is he's not even close to like firing on all cylinders yet. And it's not that he doesn't work hard. It's not that he doesn't want it. He just, he's got to believe a little bit more, and he's got to find just a little bit, something to believe in and to hold on to some confidence, because the kid is really good. And as soon as he feels that just a little bit, which he may have, in the third period of his last match, look out, because he's really capable. He's talented. He's tough. He's gritty. He's got a little bit of an attitude, so he's just got to find it, and he will. You know, it's the challenge with this season is you don't get 7 tournaments to figure it out. You get 5 dual meets. So there's some urgency there for him to do it. But if you look at his match, it was pretty much kind of like going one direction until the 3rd period, and he rides him out, gets a riding time period or riding time point in the 3rd period, and a stall call, and wins the 3rd period. Just kind of ran out of a little bit of time, but put a tough ride on him, got close to turning. So there's definitely some things you can grow from with Chauvin's match for sure.
Moving into 33, Montgomery's making, you can kind of see the progression.
I mean, that was he's had one other match. He won another match earlier this year. It was an extra match. It wasn't, technically in the dual meet. So for his first dual meet win, what a way to do it, against a guy that's ranked as high as 14th in the country. And that wasn't a fluke. Like, Mark is that good, and it's just kind of like he's maybe, he's one step ahead of Chauvin in the fact that, a week ago, maybe Mark didn't believe it. And then in this match, he just chose to believe he could compete and hit a couple of really good attacks, beat a really good kid. I mean, the guy he beat is tough. We knew that that's one of their best guys, but, Mark went out there like he expected to be in the match and expected to have a chance to win. And when it came down to it and he had a chance to win, he took the guy down and rode him out. And you win 3rd periods against good guys like that, you feel pretty good. So I was pumped for Mark, like really happy, because I know how Mark's attitude has been like really consistent, really solid. Even though he hasn't had the success he's wanted early on in the season, he's been really consistent in the way he trains and the way he's got a really positive attitude. So to see that pay off for a match, now we hope he builds on that, and then next week, and it just can kind of snowball here, because he's got some talent to really make some noise.
That's a benefit of this year. I feel like in a lot of college seasons, you have your up, and then it's almost like a rom-com. Like, you have to have a little downward part before you can go back up for the end of the year. Like, here, you can just like ride that to the whole, to that peak.
Yeah, I mean, there's no time for the rom-com dip. I haven't heard that one before. You surprise me every week, B-Row. That's pretty good. And first off, that's BS. No, you don't. You don't have to slump in January just because it's cold outside and things suck. You don't have. That's a myth. We're not going to perpetuate that. Like, you can actually keep rising through the month of January. But yeah, good on Mark Montgomery. And then Lane Peters followed it up, with a gritty Lane Peters style win. Down 2-0 at the end of the first. I think we chose top. I wasn't sure like what happened there. If they chose down, maybe they chose down. Because I remember being surprised. I was like, there's no freaking way we chose top. Did we just choose top?
Lane Peters is one of those guys that if I saw him walking on the mat, I'd start having some questions about what I'm doing. He just looks mean.
He looks mean, and he is mean. That's Lane is a super nice guy, and he's really sweet and respectful and like really nice. Like, if you raise a kid and they end up to be Lane Peters, you're really proud. Like, you did something right. You did a lot of things right. But he's a mean son of a gun on the wrestling mat and in practice. He's just freaking mean, and I don't mind it. I'd rather have to pull the reins back than have to kick him in the ribs, to get going. So he came back and got a takedown in the 3rd period and ride out for a win. Like, that's gritty. So that was, we won the 3rd period at 25, 3rd period at 33, and won the 3rd period at 41. So that's a good way to start a dual meet. Even though we didn't win the match at 25, winning 3 3rd periods in a row, that's a good way to start a dual meet. And then you got OG coming out there. And his energy and his pace have just been incredible. He doesn't know what tired is. He just goes so hard, so fast, and wrestles the entire time. That was fun to see. He's always kind of the spark plug in the middle of the lineup. So yeah, good to see out of OG, another good performance. He got 2 matches in actually. And what's exciting for OG is his next 2 opponents, are better and better. Like, he'll wrestle the best guys he's wrestled all season the next 2 dual meets in a row. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Couple but I wish he read the notes from Chick's 4 count. He would have just gator rolled him 10 seconds.
Is that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, that was the prediction. Get it going real quick.
He's got to keep that in his back pocket, so people know he's got it, but maybe he doesn't use it all the time.
People know he's got it.
Save it for EIWAs.
Yeah.
Flo put that Wisconsin video up like 1 million times last year. So I think people know he has it somewhere.
Well, that was maybe like the one time I've seen he's actually done it. We're like, oh, gee, you should do that some more, and he would probably just smile and say, oh, it's all good, coach, or something like that, like, no, I'm serious. Oh, gee, you should do that again. It works.
So we talked Marcus. Anything else on Marcus?
No, he did a good job. It was great to see. I think he was obviously felt good about the way he competed. So good to see out of him. We need that. We need our highest ranked, our best guy to act like he's one of the best guys in the country. And that's what we saw, maybe for the first time all season out of him. So he needs to keep it up, man, because his next 2 opponents in dual meets it's just like, OG, like he'll have his toughest opponent next week. And then after that, even tougher, so he needs to just stay excited about the level of competition he's going to get. Owen Brown, 165. Let me tell you, Owen Brown, 165. I know what the match score was. I know how it looks. It was 2 moves. It was 14-0 on the scoreboard. That's not great. But it was 2 6-point moves. That's 12 of the guy's points. And that guy's a hammer, right? I mean, he is really good. So it's not like, I'm not saying it's a fluke, but I'm just saying we can't give up 2 huge moves to somebody that's that good. Like, there may be a gap there between Owen and Hartman, but it's not 15 points. We helped him out a little bit too much right there, is what I'm saying. So their guy's tough, ton of respect for him. He does a good job, and he does a couple things that are really, really good. Like he might be at a couple things he does, he's the best in the country at doing them. So you got to respect it. But we just, made a couple mistakes there, and the match kind of got out of hand. So got to learn from it, and what else can you do with that? It's got to be a learning experience, and got to improve. What's that? Is that your alarm for 174, B-roll? Is that that remind you to talk about? Yeah.
No, that was a phone call. It was coming. Yeah, put my do not disturb mode on my phone.
Brad Laughlin, 174. Good win from Brad. And if you guys see this, like when Brad's wrestling, his hands are busy and he's like quick to angles. The guy is flying around the mat and you're like, holy smokes. There's some spurts where he goes 10, 15 seconds. You're like, this kid is good, like really good. So it's just a matter of him. And he is that good, by the way. It's just a matter of putting those moments together, stringing them along and not having the lapses in between. But really proud of him for the way he closed out a match, because we've seen him before. He hasn't closed out matches like that. And this weekend, he stayed a little bit less emotional, and a little bit more calm out there, but still mean, and closed out the match. So, yeah, good to see out of him.
Was there anything you guys were working on this week? Maybe specifically with him.
I think with
a few others.
Tactically or technically with Brad, some things with his top work, of where he doesn't have to exert so much energy just to ride somebody. It's like you got to do a couple things technically and you can get somebody broken down, and now you can really turn them instead of spending all your energy trying to just return them to the mat. And he hit that roll through cradle at the end of the first period. I think it was the end of the first. And he was like half a second away from it being a 4-point move. The ref gave 2 and then went back and reviewed it and whatever. The ref didn't give any back points in the Hartman match. Didn't give any, to Brad. I don't think he liked back points. So, but we worked on that, technically. It's like, we got to finish cradles. We lock them up. We got to finish, because we've been there 5 or 6 times this year. Maybe we've gotten a 2-point takedown. We haven't pinned anybody with a cradle. So we spent time as a team this week working on that, and Brad locked up that cradle, rolled, boom, he got it. So that was good to see, like something we've been working on in the room. He executed it well in competition. Yeah.
Brad made me kind of nervous being super active in the first 5 minutes. I was like, I hope this doesn't end like some of the other stuff. And he came through, and that was really exciting. I'm excited to see what he does going forward. Like, keep building off of that after his last couple of performances.
That's right. Just keep building off of it. Like, you can do it. I mean, here, he was one of the top guys in the country coming out of high school, and he's still capable of being one of the top guys in the country. That's fact. So yeah, it's just about just improve week to week. And he showed some progress there, showed a lot of progress actually. So he'll really grow from that match, because he proved to himself he can do it. And that's a big thing. Taylor Brown at 184, continues to impress. I mean, I think the guy wrestled at 157 last year in at least one tournament. And now he's up at 184. What is he in dual meets now? Is he 3-1 in dual meets? So that's good. I mean, he's helping the team. He's representing himself well. He's doing a hell of a job. So he scored a lot of points. There was a lot of action in that match at 184. It wasn't always like the most crisp, and clean, but there was a lot of action. Both those guys were tired because they both competed hard. So that was good out of Taylor to go out there. And like I said, man, you get a senior like that with an opportunity to step out and compete, takes advantage of it. Good on him. We're pumped about that. So JT, 197, definitely his best match to date. So, he was offensive, was able to score some points. He got a couple of quick scores off of some fakes and like a blast double leg, which was really good. We've been working on some things with him about just not putting his hands on people, getting slowed down so much. Like he was able to really kind of like get his hands moving and stutter a little bit, get a guy opened up and able to score. So he did a good job, got a tilt there, I think, at the very end of the match for 4 more points on the scoreboard. Yeah, JT did a good job. I don't know if you saw, did you see JT's face on the broadcast? Could you see? He's got 2 black eyes right now. I mean, they're so swollen up. He walked off the mat and you could like barely see, you could barely see like his eyeball. Like JT, I was watching film with him today. He was like, oh, he had a double A. He goes, there's my first black eye. And then later in the match, he had another double A. He goes, yeah, there's my second black eye. You could barely even see his eyes. His face was so swollen up. So good. You're not afraid to get your head in there. So
he looked tough, and he's always got my vote for the most swag.
Stop.
Yeah, he's got my vote.
He doesn't need to hear that.
I know.
If he's listening right now, what you're doing to his ego right now, this is not healthy.
How many of the guys listen to these episodes?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out if JT does or not, because I promise you he'll say something to me.
Well, there's a big snowball fight at West Point tonight.
Hopefully our guys were, I'm sure they were smart about it. If they were in a snowball fight, they were wearing a mask. I'm sure of it.
Yep.
And I'm sure they were keeping socially distant during the snowball fight. But I don't know. If JT's out there, I guarantee he's got 2 or 3 chains on underneath his coat. Made sure his hair was looking just right before he got out there. I can't believe you said he's the swaggiest guy on the team.
He's got it.
Not only is that going to be a debate on the team, but now I'm going to have to deal with his ego when he comes into practice.
It's either him or Ben Sullivan.
Or Big Ben. Hey, we've got there's a running joke with Big Ben. Big Ben is as blue collar as they get. Like he is. I mean, Big Ben is just salt of the earth. There's not a better human being on the planet than Ben Sullivan. And he's like simple just in the terms of his interest, like he's really smart. I don't mean simple like that. I mean, like, his hobbies, like he likes to weld. Ben Sullivan makes handmade knives. He sent me a knife this summer over quarantine that he had built by himself. And he made a few people knives actually. And anyways, he's so blue collar. We always laugh on road trips. You can always count on Ben to show up. We say, hey, meet in the lobby at 9:00. We're going to work out. Everyone shows up in their sweats and stuff. Ben Sullivan shows up in his blue jeans 100% of the time. I'm like, of course, we got to count on Big Ben to stroll into the wrestling room wearing his blue jeans when everyone else has their sweats on and socks tucked in. And here comes Ben with his blue jeans and t-shirt tucked in, no belt, doesn't need it. I mean, he is, he's freaking awesome is what he is. So if it's those two, I'm going with Ben Sullivan. Hands down.
Hey,
if it's between those two, JT, I'm sorry. Then you need to get Ben Sullivan's swag because that guy has got something unique. Everyone else, they all got tattoos, they all got chains. Ben Solon's the only one showing up in blue jeans.
So I just remembered that's why Christian Snook was FaceTiming me, because he wanted to ask me the question. He's like, hey, why does every wrestler have like a sleeve tattoo now? Is that like a new thing?
It's a new thing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, apparently, I don't know. They didn't all have sleeve tattoos when we recruited them. But, I think we had this discussion before, like, whatever, you stay out of trouble and you're not breaking the law and you want to have a tattoo and wear a couple chains, that's fine. Wear a couple chains. That's good. Tattoo, that's on you. You're going to have it forever. So, I got no problem.
In the chains? Like, do they work out, like practice in the chains routinely?
OG walked in. We just lifted today, right? You should see OG just strutting in there in his sleeveless shirt, going in there to lift with chain hanging. OG was checking his weight yesterday with his chain on. I said, hey, you can take that off if you're like 0.1 over, Yes, they wear the chain. You got to tell them sometimes before practice, hey, we got to lose that here before practice starts.
Do any of them have the chain mask like I do?
I think you've brought this one up before.
I have. Any opportunity I have to bring my chain mask into the equation, like Dangles right here.
I mean, I don't hate it, to be honest with you. I think if I'm gonna run a chain, like that's the way I got to do it. Like, say it's practical. Like, that's the only way I can do it. I can't wear a chain because it like looks cool, because they're gonna be like, coach, like you're not cool. It doesn't. That's not it. But if I'm wearing a chain because it holds my mask, then it's all good.
So I wasn't able to concentrate for the last like 15 seconds because Patrick fell off and his screen froze and he had this face where he was like, and I was like, for like the first couple of seconds, I thought he was like really making that face. And I'm like, what is going on? But yeah,
he actually maybe got sick of us talking about chains and tattoos and he made that face and then just said, I'm out of here, guys.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I thought we were talking RV wrestling. This is silliness. Let me guess. He had all the questions. Are we going off the script now, B-Row?
Oh, he's back.
Oh, thank God.
He got booted.
Saved the show. Patrick, welcome back. The show is saved. I thought it was going to be me and B-Row there. I was going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I got to go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No
technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. We decided that you should get a sleeve tattoo and wear a couple chains. So it's all good. We figured that out.
The BHAW sleeve. Maybe that's what I need, barely.
You keep talking about this BHAW tattoo that you're gonna get, but you keep talking about it and you haven't gotten it yet.
I know. It's we're waiting on the graphic.
No, there's no we're waiting. There's no it's just
you used to be a lot more committed to tattoos and just going and getting them. Like
yeah, but I mean now since it's not gonna be on my butt, it's a whole nother
yeah, listen, we lost our 12 viewers right there. We're done.
Right. We'll dial it back in. So dominating performance over Bucknell, exciting to see some stuff. Also a lot of stuff to grow on too. Lehigh, what's the date time group for that? And is it going to be streamed or anything? We're going to be able to watch it?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to have it streamed on their website. I'm not sure if they're behind any paywall or what, but it'll definitely be streamed somehow. Saturday, 2:00 in Bethlehem, so in their gym. They've got a really good team. They always do. They have a big roster, one of the biggest non-service academy rosters in the country, if not the biggest. So depth for them is never an issue. And you can expect whoever they put out there is going to be pretty freaking good. So but we can beat them. If we're on and we compete hard, then yeah, we can definitely do it. Now, does that mean that it's going to happen? Like, no, we got to make it happen. Like, we're not just going to show up and, we have a chance to win. But if we don't show up, like really show up when we're there, then we have no chance. But I don't know what their lineup's going to be, because I know that, like every team, there's guys in and out, at different times. So it's hard to, their heavyweights back. I did notice that. Who's obviously been kind of a thorn in our backside for, I guess, the past 4 years. If that heavyweight's been around for a while, he's really good. There's tough matchups there. At 97, they got a freshman that I tried to recruit really hard at 84. We know they're good at every other weight. I don't know who they have at 74. We wrestled their guy at 65, at 57. Humphreys hasn't been competing this year. I don't know what's up with that. But he probably won't be competing against us. That we're really familiar with him with Hoffman at 49. Like we've seen him a lot. He beat PJ twice last year. We beat him once. We beat him the last time. So I want to see PJ, see where we at now. 41. Malik Hines wrestled their last match at 41, beat Trampy, I'm pretty sure, from Binghamton. So that was a big win for the freshman there for Malik. So good challenge for us, pumped for that. 33 and 25, I kind of worked my way backwards there, but 33 and 25, I don't know who they're going to have out there, but they're going to be good. I mean, the bottom line is they're a really well-coached team. They're really talented. They're full of, just really solid Pennsylvania kids and sprinkled in some other guys from kind of around the country. So, I mean, anybody that follows Wrestle knows when you go to Lehigh and Wrestle, like if you're not ready for a battle and you're not ready to compete, then you're going to leave there not feeling very good about yourself. So yeah, we know what to expect. We know what we're up against and we're excited for it.
Yeah. They got Jarrett Lane, 25. He's ranked 25. And then at 33, they got Brandon Paisel, ranked number 9. Two tough guys.
Has Paisel been wrestling? Is he back?
I don't know, but he was in Flo's rankings.
Okay.
So I assume that I take their kind of, like they know.
Well, we know Paisel wrestled, was he 25 last year or was he 33? He may have been their 25 pounder last year, maybe. I'm not sure, but the name's familiar. So I know for a fact we've wrestled him a couple times. So
yeah, he's number 9. So at 30, which is pretty stacked, but
we'll watch some film and we'll be ready, and if our guys' mindset, if their mentality's ready, then they're ready.
They might have an advantage too, because I think a lot of their fan base is probably vaccinated by now.
that's a shot. They have a passionate, they have a loyal fan base who have been cheering on their program for quite some time.
Yeah.
So
you look at some of the fans and you're like, you've had that sweatshirt since 1968.
Listen, they are loyal and they keep showing up. I don't know. Do you know this story, B-Row? I don't know which. Obviously, I don't know which, but some Lehigh fan, like, it was just one of those moments at a tournament, when like you're just at that spot where you've had enough and you've seen enough, and then some fan says something to you. That happened to me last year at the EIWA tournament. I don't know what it was, but some fan said something to me as I was walking away, and I kind of like snapped. I said something to him like, what was that? Say it again or something like that. And I turned around. They weren't in my age bracket, so I immediately like felt bad. But I was pissed at the same time. I was like, this guy's, what did they say? I don't even know what I said to him, but not proud of it. Wasn't, I don't want to do it again, but I remember snapping and saying something to somebody in the stands, and I turned around and I was like, I can't argue with my grandpa like that. Like, that's not cool. I don't need to do that. Anyways, they're a passionate fan base, and I respect that. And I mean it.
So before we get into some questions, your vest game you got going on, did you learn that from John Smith?
Yeah. No. I've been running vests way before he made them popular. Yeah, way before. Like, you're John Smith, you wear an orange vest, and people, oh, look, this guy, he's got a vest on. But I've been wearing vests since way before he made them popular. Yeah, way before. I don't have the same clout, but listen, I respect the vest game. I only own about 24 different vests, so nothing but respect for him.
Will go good with that vest, a gold chain.
And the tattoo that you can't see.
No, yeah. I wouldn't say the tattoo would be that good, but the gold chain over top, like on the outside of the collar.
Staying around here?
Yeah.
B-Row. We got to
actually just get it tattooed.
Just the chain tattooed. Yep. We got to talk about that. I'm going to talk to JT about this tomorrow. I'm going to see what's actually a good idea. JT, if you're watching, man, come in the office. Let me know.
So we'll get into questions. We'll knock out Nick Haley's 25 first.
Okay.
It'll be a long episode.
Well, I'll kick one off. We'll go back a little bit to that Lehigh interaction and maybe even some of your interactions with the referees. Do any of the assistant coaches have like a safe word to like pull you back?
We've been through this. We went through this last week. No, I'm not that hard on them, actually. And I'm to the point now where I think the assistant coach, I've got to tell them, back off. My safe word to them is be quiet, calm down, back off. That's enough. No, we're not that. Listen, when there's bad calls, or I think there's a bad call, I'm wrong sometimes. When I think there's a bad call, let them know. Other than that, I'm pretty chill. Just try to coach my wrestler. And I think there's maybe been like one time, that I've said something to a fan, and that was, what I just brought up a few minutes ago. And I try not to do that again.
So
fire away, B-Row. What questions you got?
All right, we'll alternate, Patrick. Okay, I'll go first with Nick Kelly's first question. I realize that the prep school wrestlers will not be able to have many, if any, matches this year. Based on what you see from practices, who are the most promising wrestlers in the prep school?
I don't see practices this year.
That was a trick question. He was trying to get you.
Yeah. You ain't got me, and neither does the NCAA on this one, because I haven't seen practices. I get reports, and what I can say is we have a really strong team. Obviously, you can look at, who are the highest ranked recruits coming out of high school. They're still really impressive. But there's a few others there in the mix that maybe you didn't know their name, but you will, next year and sometime pretty soon. So without getting into specifics, we can say we really like them. Really good squad, and there's multiple guys there that are going to be starting for us for a long time.
So you guys can't have like RTC practices? Is that is that like a West Point thing, NCAA thing, or
both? So it's a recruiting dead period, so you can't have contact with recruitable athletes. That dead period's been going on since March of last year, so almost for 12 months now. And it's a West Point thing, COVID measures, the bubble. We got to protect what we have, which is smart. I mean, this time of year, like, listen, man, you can't take risk. We got to protect what we've got.
So Nick asked about midweek matches and why we're not getting more matches in. I think we covered that with the COVID protocols.
Yeah, it's a COVID thing. I mean, it's a West Point. It's a athletic department policy. We get one competition per week. So yeah, with you don't see very many wrestling matches midweek anyway, even when there's no restrictions, but more than one per week would be ideal. But listen, it's the situation we're in. No need complaining about it or trying to change it. We get one match a week, so we got to make them count.
I feel like, it's obviously the dynamic has changed here in like the last 10 years, but like there's a lot less matches. Obviously there's less matches this year, but when I was a cadet, I felt like we had, from January to mid-February, felt like we had every Wednesday, Saturday. And then, you have, all academies, Lehigh, Navy would be like weekends. And then you go into the IWAs like a week later.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten smarter. I don't think anybody would set up a training calendar and a competition schedule from scratch and say, yeah, that sounds great. Let's compete that many times. To me, it just doesn't make sense. So this year we don't have to worry about it. Any other season, we're not gonna have to worry about it either, because, I like to keep our match count. So for us, we like, it's really hard to compete in December at West Point because of finals, so you get an early December tournament. And then it's really hard to compete when you're preparing for finals. It's really hard to compete during finals week. And then you go for Christmas, it's not like, I remember, like I would take my finals early, and then during finals week, I'd be in Reno, Nevada, wrestling at a tournament. It's just, we're a different school. So what I'm getting at is, yeah, we start in November, but we take pretty much, 3 weeks in December off. And then coming back into January and competing that much again right away, I just don't think it's the best thing for each individual athlete. If I had my way, we wouldn't start competing until December, but with our academic calendar, losing the month of December, it obviously doesn't work. So any way I can find it to get right around the 25 to 30 match mark, I think is good. Younger guys, maybe they can handle the 30 to 40, but 25, 30 matches, that's plenty. It should be more than enough.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast a wrestling podcast last week, and they brought up it was Willie Sellers. He brought up how, like, this year is going to change everything for the future. Like, he doesn't see wrestling, in the future starting before the second semester. Do you see that? I mean, I kind of heard that, and I was like, no, I think it's going to go back to normal. And I have a couple theories myself, but
it's going to go back, even though 99% of Division I coaches want wrestling to be a one semester sport, and we have for a long time. So it's frustrating that the people who make a living in the sport, that know the sport better or as well as anybody, especially at this level, like, we are all really clear that we want something to change in our sport. We just can't get it done. So that's frustrating. It's going to go back to the same. There's going to be some things that stay, just like every other, kind of area of operations, like, in business or whatever. There's some changes that COVID's brought on. They're going to stick, that are really good, but this isn't one of them. I mean, we're going to go back to competing in November because you're allowed to. So, when our competition starts competing in early November, what am I going to do? Am I going to say, we're going to take the next 3 weeks off, and not get matches in? It's like, no, you got to do it. Because you don't want to give anybody an advantage. So it's going to go back until, until we're able to actually affect some change that we really want, which is make it a one semester sport. Don't start so early. That's a long conversation in itself, but it's going to go back to where it was.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking of it. I mean, for your high powered schools, it works because all the guys are highly ranked before, your, I don't even say lower end school, like your teams that are out of the top 15, all those guys, they're trying to get those, early season matches so they can build in the rankings, get up, and that way, come dual meet season, conference season, maybe you may not be wrestling as, tough. You want those tournaments to kind of show and get your ranking up.
Yeah, that's part of it. And there's a reason, that coaches like those big open tournaments where you can kind of pick some people off and make a name for yourself. So there's other ways around it. We can talk about that some other time, but I mean, for now, it's just safe to say we're going back to the same season.
All right. So this next one's more of I think a little philosophical question from Nick.
Okay. I like these.
Would you rather start a wrestler who gives 100% all the time?
Are we playing Would You Rather?
Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't ready. You gotta warn me about this. I wasn't ready for this type of.
Just wait till the next one.
Would you rather eat a turd? No. Would you rather start a wrestler who gives 100% all the time with a great fighting spirit, or a better wrestler who is not as motivated?
The one that wins is typically the answer. The one that wins. Now, there's some other things that you got to look at, who energizes their team. Somebody brings something that your team that you currently have doesn't have, or that you're lacking. I mean, but the bottom line is, we want to win, and we want to do it the right way, like with the right attitude and the right energy. So I appreciate that question. I'm just not so sure that it's, really applicable to anybody that we have. I just think that, whoever can get the job done, that's really important. Whether you're giving 100% or you're giving 80%, just freaking get it done, and if you can keep getting it done, then you're going to be the guy.
So Nick's got a couple more questions. We'll circle back to him. Sam Weiss, or maybe Sam Weiss, asks, which states are most wrestlers from on the team? And my follow-up is, what is your favorite state to recruit, and why is it Indiana?
So that's a really good question. I mean, I would guess if you look at our roster, I mean, Pennsylvania's got to be like maybe the number one. Is Pennsylvania the number one state on our roster?
I'm sure it should be if you guys want to be like program.
Or is it Ohio, or is it Tennessee? No? Am I the only one from Tennessee right now? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'll defer you to our roster, so I don't make a liar of myself. I'm going to guess Pennsylvania. But, I mean, listen, anywhere where kids love wrestling and they love to compete, I love to recruit. So I am unbiased, and I do not discriminate against hardworking kids that love to win and have extremely high goals for themselves.
That's fair. That's a good answer.
So next one is another one from me.
Wait, you answered your own Instagram story with the question?
No, I didn't put it on Instagram. I just added it in the doc. But I put it in there because I was like, oh, I don't want to forget. But there was no way I was going to forget this because I wanted to ask it anyway. Because it was from another podcast I was listening to. I was like, ooh, this is a good question. Is there a point in the year where you start limiting how many guys are practicing so you can limit COVID exposure? This podcast was like, I would only, starting February, I would only wrestle starters and maybe a handful of backups, to try to limit that. Are you guys, has that discussion happened?
Yeah. So whoever said that, are they currently coaching in college or high school?
No.
So you never know what they would do because every school is different. Like you can say you would do one thing, but as soon as you get your feet on the ground and realize maybe some things are possible and some aren't, so, but the bottom line is that the idea behind it is correct. Like you absolutely have to limit the risk that you have. And so, yeah, we're doing that as well. Like we have a big roster. We don't have everybody in the room. And that's, that's a COVID thing and not very happy about it. But I mean, it's my choice. I'm not getting made to do it. Let me be clear about that. Nobody told me. Like it's my decision. I wish we didn't have to do it is what I'm saying, but it's the right thing to do. So yeah, absolutely. You got to limit the risk, man, because, we've got a few days of the season left. So we can't afford to waste them sitting, wasting away in quarantine.
So Ned Shuck asks, why are you holding back with your rule change recommendations? Because we know there's more.
I'm being held back. I'm being held back, Ned. So our rule changes, submission forms are due coming up soon. Well, I have a lot of ideas. So
I know everybody on Twitter saw you have a lot of ideas.
That was about half of them. All right.
I counted 8 on Twitter.
I can keep going. But here's the thing is they shut me down. They said, no, you're done. You can't submit any more requests. I tried a different email address. I tried to backdoor them. I said, okay, I'm going to mix it up and use my personal email address. I'm armycoachward@gmail. Nope, can't submit it. Kevin.ward@West Point. Nope, can't submit it. Kevin-ward@. Nope, can't submit. I'm like, man, they really shut me down. Like they don't want to hear from me anymore.
We need to get Matt Valeni on the podcast and put his feet to the fire. Is he the guy or is it?
Listen,
is it Charles?
To be fair, I didn't call Matt, and say, hey, Matt, I'm shut down. All I did was put it on Twitter just to kind of, that isn't that what you do?
That's a Twitter move. That's what Twitter's for.
Is it that the way to find a solution to all your problems? Just put it on Twitter. I thought it was funny that for one, you have to submit. It's a pain in the ass because you have to enter your contact info, your name, phone number, email, school, conference, and division that you coach. And then a rules proposal, one rule. And then if you want to do it again, you have to start the form over. And you got to enter all that stuff in again. Like it doesn't save for you. So it's a pain in the ass. It's like it's not 2021 on their website. They're way behind. And you got to submit each proposal individually and provide a rationale for it. Anyways, I maxed myself out, but I got a few more. I'm not holding back. I'm being held back, but we're going to get these proposals through.
What is your most important?
As a wrestling fan, Tom Ryan messaged me and said, hey, were you able to get your submissions in? I said, yeah, a few of them. Anyways, we ended up connecting on the phone and talking about what we think rules changes need to be done. We probably talked for, 15 minutes or so. But it's amazing, how many people agree about some changes that we would like to see. It was interesting. He was pretty passionate about his, and I feel strongly about mine. So hopefully, the reason you put things out there in public is to start a conversation. That's it. So hopefully conversations get started and some progress is the result.
What's your most important rule? What would you, if you could change one thing? You only
Mat side weigh-ins, 100%. Mat side weigh-ins would revolutionize the sport. It's the single most important and kind of modernizing, revolutionary thing that we could do in the sport of wrestling.
So what would that look like for a tournament?
It would look like you step on scales, and if you don't meet your weight class, you don't wrestle. And if you do, you walk onto the mat and you shake hands and you wrestle. What would it look? Is there a scale to each mat? Is there a staging area in the back like there is at big tournaments? And then they bring you out, where you weigh in before you enter the competition floor. Listen, the logistics of it are peanuts. Like, figure that the F out, like, I'm talking about big change. And if the argument against it is, well, how's that going to work at a tournament? I don't know. Get a freaking get a extension cord and a few extra plugs and plug some scales. It's not that hard to figure out if you really want to have mat side weigh-ins. Now there's plenty of people out there that think I'm a freaking idiot because I want mat side weigh-ins. They think it's the dumbest thing ever. I just think it would be revolutionary for the sport. Tell me why I'm wrong, B-Row. By the way, in all fairness, I've had this conversation a lot, so I'm probably more prepared to debate this than you are. Just like a disclaimer, but bring it
on. Would you be allowed to drink water after you weighed in beside the mat, or you weighed in the staging area? Can you take a sip of water?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it depends if you wait in the staging area, are you going to restrict fluids between there and the mat? But listen, do you think the 30-second walk from the tunnel to the competition floor and that sip of water is going to in matches you drink during injury time. So why couldn't you have a sip on the way to the mat? Again, like peanuts.
Yeah, I guess my only thing would be, it would just, it'll stop people from gaming the system as much as they do right now. But then for guys that are it just adds, for guys who aren't really cutting weight, it adds a layer of
awesomeness.
Well, no. For guys now, if they're not cutting weight, or 5 years from now, I don't have a good reason.
Yeah. If they're not cutting weight, they also have to wrestle people who aren't cutting weight. Man, it sounds terrible. You wouldn't have to be up till 1 a.m. the night before losing weight, or get up at 4:30 to make sure that you can put your plastics on and nobody notices and you get your weight oh man, you wouldn't have to do that anymore. Sounds terrible. It would literally it would solve so many problems and get rid of many of the misconceptions, about the sport and about the unhealthy relationship with weight that people think that we have. It would be, I can't think of a reason not to do it, to be honest.
Not enough plugs.
We can listen. I will make a donation to the NCAA. Right? I will buy. How many do we need? How many power strips do we need for the NCAA tournament? I got you. I'll buy them.
All right, Chick 4 count.
I was waiting on Chick. What do you got, Dan?
How does the coaching staff and team leadership maintain the same work ethic this week, coming off a nice win?
Very carefully. Yes, extremely.
This ain't a rom-com. This ain't a rom-com, Chick.
Here's the message to the team today. You had a good performance. You came back and you won in the third period. The bench was excited. Everybody felt good, right? It can't be, oh, that was good, we did it, and then you regress. The only way to move forward is like an addict, where that felt so good, I've got to have that again. That was amazing, and I've got to get back to that feeling. And the more you want it and you crave it and the more you chase it, the more work you put in to get it. And now you can really start to climb and start to jump. So my message to the team with it today was, think about that feeling and how good it felt and how much you loved it, and work your tails off to make sure that you can feel that way again, because competition is going to get tougher. And if you want to feel that way again, you've got to do even more than you did the first time. And you got to keep giving more and keep doing more. So that's the message to the team. And hopefully that's the way that we're able to keep progressing as the season goes on.
I'm getting all fired up. I had a Rocky 4-esque workout in the snow in the garage gym. I might have to do it again after this.
You did. You know what they say, Pat. You know how someone's a CrossFitter?
Because they will certainly tell you about it.
Yeah, don't worry. B-Row will bring it up about his garage gym.
Well, he's got to get ready for Midlands next year. So
yeah, I'm going to give you the same level speech the night before Midlands next year.
Oh, I can't wait. So much. So much has changed since last week. I ordered a custom mat for the garage, 12x16, BHAW mat. It's actually, I still got to work through the graphics, similar to the tattoo situation. But Resolite's going to help me with that. I'm sure. So yeah, I got Christian Snook. He's on board to wrestle in the Midlands. I've got Jordan Tom, Dave Clolinger. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Clolinger?
Yeah.
He offered up. He grouped. You were in the message too. He group messaged me, you, and Jordan, and said, "If you wrestle there, I'll donate $1,000 to the West Point Wrestling Club. If you win for every match you win, I will donate another $1,000. And if you pin anybody, I'll give an extra $500."
I've got a master plan here. First off, you both have to wrestle, like whatever. And if we could get you two in the same weight and pair you up in a pigtail, there's a guaranteed win right there. So that's a guaranteed 3 G's coming from David.
Brackets. We can figure that out.
If we can just get you guys in a pigtail. I don't have any connections at Northwestern. I have no pull whatsoever, but I'm going to see what we can do. What's going to be your catch weight? If you and Tom had to be in the same bracket, what would it be?
I don't know. I'm not making anything less than 74.
All right, so it's going to be 174. Perfect. He's going to have so much energy. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
He's not going. He's going to go 41. We're going to get him.
I'm pairing you guys up. I want a guaranteed win out of one of you two. So if I can pair
Jordan
you up.
goes 41. He's going to – nobody's getting out on him. Like they say, like when you get old, you lose timing. But he never had a takedown, and that's where you need your timing. You don't lose timing on riding legs, And
you do get better on top too. But I don't know, man. Have you just mentioned like earlier, like have you seen Lane Peters wrestle? Are you sure you want Lane Peters grabbing you by the neck like that?
No, and I outweigh him by like 50 pounds.
I don't honestly. Jordan versus Lane right now. Jordan's tough. If
Jordan gets on top.
Well,
Jordan's also 160 pounds. So
listen, I don't doubt it. I know how good Jordan is. I'm just, some of these guys are pretty tough. So we just make sure that we got to make sure your training schedule. We got to make sure that you're on the right training plan. 174. Next question.
So another David Clolinger question: is the West Point Wrestling Club able to conduct practices specifically against prepsters and cadets? And I'm assuming, let's imagine post-COVID. And then how are the prepsters doing in general? You got any interface with them?
They're doing good. Yeah. In general, they're doing great. Fantastic reports coming out of SMATs. But no, as far as hosting practices and RTC practices, no, not something we've been able to do right now. But I'm telling you, it's a good team. We've got a fantastic coach. We're excited about them. We're just as anxious as everybody else to actually get them, and see them in person. So, listen, we got to get through this COVID deal for a while. And we got to do it the right way to make sure that we have a chance. And when we do, when we get them back, we'll be pumped. But, it's been an odd year, where we typically have a lot of RTC practices. This year we haven't had any.
Kind of circling back to another Nick question. He's asking, and we talked about this off air, but where's Wirt? I think a few people probably wondering.
Yeah. Andrew's not on the roster anymore. I think he intends to change schools. So I think he intends to leave West Point. But hey, he's an awesome kid. Love him. Super likable. Just wants a different life and wants to go a different direction. So yeah, he's not on the team, and I shouldn't speculate about his intentions because those could have changed, but he's not on the team.
Gotcha. Well, sad news there.
Nickel Michael. I'm not sure. I was close there. Pretty simple question. How would you wrestle someone stronger than you?
Better. I would be better than them. That's yeah. Hey, listen, but I'll tell you this because it's a good question. You know what the best technique in wrestling is? Being strong. You can't mess it up. It's impossible to mess up strength. It's so easy to mess up a single leg or duck under or whatever, you name the technique, you can really screw it up. It's really hard to be strong the wrong way, So I'm serious. Like, that's the starting point. If you're not physically able to match up and compete, it doesn't matter really how good your technique is. Like, you have to have some level of strength and being able to be capable physically, or no matter, nothing is really going to work, because they'll just smash you. So anybody, it's like you have to be at this level. You have to be really strong.
So today was a lift day for the team, and there's about 50 Division I level weight rooms spread across West Point that other universities would die for. So what did that look like for the team?
So we bring them into the wrestling room. We have 4 racks and a couple racks of dumbbells. And we have all the equipment we need in our wrestling room to get a lift in. So we brought in about 30 guys today. So about 30 people got their lift in the wrestling room. They spend I left it up to them. Some people were on the mat for 45 minutes or an hour. Some didn't put wrestling shoes on at all. Just kind of warmed up, stretched, and hit their lift and got out of there. But we were able to do it right in the wrestling room. It's pretty sick. And then they shut it down. I had, afterwards they were playing dodgeball. And I'm like, you guys got to go, because like we're having a blizzard right now. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but
a snowball fight to get to.
Yeah, they closed Arvin down. So I was like, hey guys, you got to I got to get home and shovel my driveway. It's like a serious snowfall here, like 1.5 feet of snow. So, anyways, they usually stick around and hang out a little bit longer, but I was like, gotta go. We gotta clean up some snow. So that's what it looked like today.
Could that affect some travel down to Lehigh, you think, maybe?
No, it'll be done by then. I mean, it's gonna snow all day tomorrow. So tomorrow is Tuesday. It's gonna snow the bulk of the day, but I don't think, again, the rest of the week we'll be fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It'll just make it a prettier drive. That's it.
So we got a couple more questions.
Yeah, man.
Dave Warnick asks, how are the newest additions to the Army team fitting into the mix? And is the recruiting class as good as you thought they would be? So
recruiting classes, people think I'm joking. I always say recruiting class, I'll let you know how they are in about 4 years. It's like sometimes you just don't know. Yeah, they're good. And I've said to the team and probably publicly, this maybe not be the most talented group of freshmen that we have, but without question, overall, it's the hardest working group we got. They may be the hardest working class on our team right now. They're just the least experienced. No, they're awesome. So they're fitting in really well. Their work ethic is incredible. The hardest working freshman class I've ever had. And so that's a compliment to them. They keep doing that. We saw some in extra matches, and Montgomery, he's a freshman, that, were able to come back, and by wrestling hard, they won third periods and won big matches for themselves. So yeah, we like them a lot and feel really good about what they can do for us.
With the dead period, what's the biggest change you're going to have to make with recruiting going
Man,
forward?
The dead period just sucks. There's no way around it. We've been in a dead period for almost a year. It's a lot more of this, with recruits, more phone calls, less sitting in living rooms and less face-to-face contact. No face-to-face contact for us. We're in a position where we wouldn't break the rules. We can't break the rules. Other schools do. We can't see recruits. We can't run into them at a restaurant. Like we've had one recruit, his mom post a picture with an assistant coach at a school. Oh, look who we ran into, at this restaurant. I'm like, what a freaking coincidence. You live 6 states away and you just ran into a coach at a restaurant. What are the odds? We can't do that because the visitors aren't allowed on West Point yet. So, no, it's been a big change, but we're still putting together what we feel is a really good class. So it's another challenge, but the D'Angelo and Shuck, they recruit really hard. So we've got some good kids coming in.
So I probably won't see any pictures of like a random top recruit's parents being like, the drinks at Fireside are really good. I just ran into Coach Ward.
I mean, they might have drinks at Fireside, but I'm not going to be there with them. So in my 7 years, I've never been to Fireside. Well, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should say that I run by there every now and then and keep people on their toes. But yeah, I haven't been yet.
Yeah, it's probably better you don't go.
So that makes me think it's probably better that I do go. So they have you to thank for that.
So Tyler McLeese asked, this is a good one. Lane Peters wrestled a really tough match this weekend. How are you going to make decisions on starters late in the season with so few matches to evaluate guys against each other in some of these competitive weight classes?
141 is one of those. That's a tough decision to make, but Lane's making a really strong case for himself. There's more time than people think, because I've been watching these guys for months. It's not like it's just competition. Like, I've been watching what they do and how they work and how they go about their energy, what they bring to the team. Ultimately, hopefully competition sorts everything out. So, it's between Logan Brown and Lane Peters at 141. They've both been given opportunities to compete. They will both be given more opportunities to compete. Somebody needs to take advantage of it. If not, it either comes down to a wrestle off or comes down to my decision. So hopefully competition sorts things out.
So last question from Nick. Are there any guys that we haven't seen this year in extra matches or even starters just because of injury or whatever that might come?
Yeah, there've been a few, and we don't talk very much about the injuries that guys have. But Ben Pazook's going to wrestle this weekend, either in an extra match or possibly the dual meet. He hasn't wrestled yet because he's been getting himself ready. Other than that, we know what happened with Ryan Hetrick. COVID really kind of affected him, and he wasn't able to continue wrestling. Jed Smith got a knee injury earlier in the year. That was, he was going to be in the mix definitely at 184, if not the favorite. So we've had some injuries that haven't helped us. But I don't think there's anybody that we're like, man, we're really missing them, right now. That doesn't have a chance. Like, everybody will still have a chance to prove they want to be the guy, that they can be the guy.
Awesome. Well, that wraps it up for questions. Went a little long this time. I think we're probably about an hour right now.
Well, I love it, man. It means some people want to know some things about Army wrestling, and me. Once I get started talking about it, I could go all night. But I appreciate you guys. Hey, Pat, thanks for jumping on here with us tonight.
Yeah, this was awesome. B-Row put it out, and I jumped on it.
We'll probably have you and Jordan on next week, and B-Row the week after. Are you busy, or do you think you want to join us again? You probably have like a CrossFit workout or something during that.
Kevin, have you seen my Instagram?
Would rather throw you than know you.
Hey, I'm BHAW.
Listen, if you can fit us into your workout schedule.
So I shared my gym. We were doing these. I'll just tell you about my CrossFit workout the other day. So we had sandbag throws, and it looked like I was like belt, back arching some dude in the picture. And so I reshared it and I put hashtag Midlands 2021, and Bobby replied to it and said hashtag like Midlands champ. So
Bob knows.
Yeah, he's got confidence.
I hope you screenshotted that.
I'll screenshot and put on the story on the story.
No, it's all good. I appreciate everyone's interest. I appreciate everyone's support of our program. Lehigh, February 6th, 2 p.m. You can check their website, even though I hate to promote, another team. Check their website. It'll be streamed somehow, some way. Hope you guys can check us out. And then we'll be back together again, next week?
Yeah, don't even go to their website. Just go. We'll have the link in our, the link will be in our bio. Click on it. Don't even go to their website. The direct link will be right in there. So just check it out there. We'll just
all right then. Yeah, that works. Drama. That's all good.
And Kevin, don't be. I don't know if they're gonna have fans there or not, but I hope you don't yell at any elderly folks there this weekend.
I'm gonna be chilling. Listen, this isn't a 2-day tournament. It's one dual meet. I can handle myself. Ned Shuck's got my back. He's gonna be pulling me. I'm gonna sit. You know what, Ned? I'm gonna be sitting Ned up into the stands.
What are the chances that guy like chirps you and is like, "Hey, I remember what you said last year at AWAs"?
That would be a huge compliment if he remembers. Like I'll go shake his hand or fist bump or quarantine wing, whatever you can do right now. There's no hard feelings. That would be a huge compliment if he actually remembered. I hope he does. I hope he's there, and I hope he says something.
Based on their age demographic, he's not going to remember.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we're not sure. But I'll let you know. Ask me next week. I'll fill you in.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. Appreciate you, listeners. Thanks for coming on, Kevin.
All right. Cool.
Thanks for tuning in to the BHAW Radio Show. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast platform. If there's something you'd like to hear on a future show, reach out to us on any of our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Or you can reach us at email, bhaw.radio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, go Army, be Navy.